It's 32 minutes gone past 10 a.m. And of course, you're listening to Dial Up Champions 92.3 Search FM campus radio of the Federal University of Technology, Mina, this beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning. And if you're wondering, why are you hearing him on air by this time of the day? Not to worry, it's nothing serious. But of course, it's something serious. And that is why we are here. Today, I'm not here alone. I'm here with a delegation from the Peak Story. Of course, I have the convener of the Peak Story right here with me in the building. And today we'll be looking at something really, really important to our everyday living as humans here on Earth. And that is talking about rape and child sexual abuse. The conference was held on the 17th and 18th of January. And of course, this radio show today is you can call it a fallout of that particular conference. And it is aimed or themed at answering some of the questions that we saw during that conference. Of course, that conference had in attendance students from different schools right here in Niger State, and these students had different questions to ask. And these questions have now been put together, and we have some of the big wigs in the industry to come answer these questions right here live on air. And first to my right, I have the founder of the Peak Story, as well as the convener of the Rape and Child Sexual Abuse Conference, in person of Mr. Chenemi Bamaiyi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So good to be here.
All right. It's so good to also have you here. As well, I have, when I said the big weeks, I mean the big weeks for real. First off, I have Miss Ann Nwakpuda. Good morning, Miss Ann.
Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be in your midst today.
All right. It's great to have you here with us as well. And also, I have Barrister Muhammed Mann. Good morning, Barrister.
Morning. It's my pleasure.
All right. Thank you for joining us this morning. And of course, we also expect Hajiya Maimuna Mohammed to join us. She's not with us in the building right now. But let's just keep the ball rolling. And I will just go straight to Mr. Chenemi Bamaiyi. In, say, 1 minute, less than that, can you just give us a brief description of the Peak Story?
All right. So the Peak Story is media organizations that deals with telling stories about people and communities. So we look at issues in society and we tell stories about them. And where we can, we begin to create interventions, just like what we did with what we're doing with the Rape and Child Sexual Abuse Conference. We've been telling stories, documenting rape issues. So we feel it's time to go in and create some interventions by creating more awareness and then speaking to young people about the ills of rape and how they can protect themselves.
All right, great. Well, now that we know that that's the way to go, I'm just going to hand over to you to interface with the big wigs that we have in the studios this morning to answer some of these questions that we have seen from that third edition of the Rape and Child Sexual Abuse Conference. So just take it away.
All right, thank you. So if you're listening to us right now and you weren't part of that conference, it's an opportunity for you to benefit from what transpired at the conference. And if you were at the conference, because we actually passed message round to tell students that, look, your questions will be answered today. So if you were at the conference, here's an opportunity for you to hear a question. So to our panelists, Barrister Muhammed Mann and Ann Nwakpuda were part of the panelists at the conference. So they are very familiar with these questions. So, and I'll ask that because of the want of time, we can just ensure that our answers are concise and brief. And I will begin first with one of the questions. So all the questions have been itemized, have been listed. And I'll mention the name, the question number, so that right there you could know that has been taken. And I'm going to start from question number 16. It says, what are those ways I can speak out when someone has entered my boundary? So I'll direct that question to Ann Nwakpuda. Just a minute or two.
Thank you very much, Chenemi. The ways you know somebody has entered or encroached your boundary is one, when you are uncomfortable with the person, you don't feel safe with the person around you. When you sense triggers everywhere, probably in the way and manner you're being touched, the way and manner you're being approached, the way and manner he or she speaks to you, or probably online, someone tries to lure you to do crazy things you are not thinking of or you don't want to do. Or even in your family, when you see your parents or let me say you're a female, your father starts, his way of welcoming you is by kissing you on the mouth or having you to sit on his laps and plays with your boobs or your bum bum as part of the way of welcoming you. Those are signs. Those are triggers that you should look out for. Those are things you should say. Or somebody talks to you and runs your emotions down, makes you feel traumatized after talking to you, drains you emotionally, assaults you with all sorts of negative words. Or you go to somewhere and you're being disrespected. Your feelings are not valued, they're not respected. Someone assaults you, maybe bullies you in class, makes you feel you're not wanted, makes you feel you don't have the self-confidence, makes you not to be able to build your confidence. Those are ways of noticing danger signs.
All right.
So once you see that, speak out.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Ann. And welcome. We're just being joined by Hajiya Maimuna Mohammed, the Director General of School Reforms here in Niger State. She's also part of the panelists at the conference you will hear shortly. Barrister Meruman, this question 19, I think it's something you can speak to very well. She said, the person that asked the question says, my question is that if you caught a person raping a female child, what are they going to do to that person?
Well, thank you very much. Well, if the person is caught and you report on time and there are evidence to show that that person has been raped, there are laws backing you to prosecute now the perpetrator. So what happens is that if you report to the appropriate authority, of course, investigations will be carried out, backed up with evidence, and then go to court, and the person will be prosecuted. And if evidence leads to the fact that truly rape has been committed, the person will be sentenced to prison and an appropriate penalty will be carried out.
So that we don't go back to these again, what are the evidences that we're talking about?
Well, part of the evidence is like we have always maintained, if it is possible, it should be possible that when one is raped, you don't quickly rush into washing off what has been thrown on you. And then secondly, also, if there are, you can't see eyewitnesses, but if there are probably people who have seen that person around you all the time and have seen signs and is ready to come and give evidence, that person will also be able to help your case. And if it is, for instance, where it is your parent, mostly mothers, who has noticed something that is not normal in you and has decided to report or shout, she should also be a witness. So what we always advocate is that there must be something or evidence to show. And one of the fundamental evidence that the law recognizes is the medical report. So having seen whatever is there, the victim or the survivor should immediately be taken to the sexual referral center or a medical center where an examination will be carried out. And in the process of prosecution, the doctor will come over to explain further. This is what it is.
All right. Thank you so much. Hajiya Maimuna, so I'm going to merge two questions for you to answer in one. Question 25 says, I'm sure you'll have the questions with you. So question 25 says, in the university, and okay, so let's localize it to, let's say, secondary schools, because this still happens. So you will see a teacher, probably a lecturer, in order to pass a student, who will first demand for sex, whereas the student is from a family that do not have money.
Taking advantage.
Yes. Then the other question I was going to merge it with is question. There's a question that talks about parents that actually encourage their children to go into sexual acts just to make money. So how do we blend this, and what should the child in this situation do?
Good morning. Sorry for being a little bit late. Let me answer the first question. We right now are encouraging our students to report their incidents and not to be afraid. We are trying to support them to build confidence, self-esteem, to not feel threatened by their teachers. And also we are trying to separate the line between being a teacher who is supposed to be mentoring and also somebody who is befriending their students. So we are working hard. It's not that it has not been happening, but this may be due to fear, this may be due to financial issues or other benefits that the student feel, like maybe exams or papers or something like that, so that they don't get failed. And yes, some adults take advantage of that in students. We are also developing the guardian counseling section in our schools, so that students can be able to walk into the guardian counselor's space and talk about things that are bothering them in terms of such things. So the second question on
Parents.
yes, parents, very important, very key. We know that parents feel that they just send their students to school without monitoring the behavior of the students or supporting. Education is not just the job of a teacher, it is the job first of a parent. And the confidence you give to your child is what the child moves forward with. They build their self-esteem from home. But I know that due to systemic issues, the involvement and engagement of parents in our schools are lacking. So what we're trying to do right now is also to develop that parent engagement.
Sorry, let me cut you quickly. This person is also asking situations where the parents are the ones encouraging these children to go into sexual acts because they need money.
Yes. So, parents are doing this for money. Parents are doing this for all other reasons as well. So what we do is that to try to, like right now we have the child rights, we have the ACP, we have other agencies that we kind of are working hard to really bring out the collaborative synergy, and also to educate the parents. And this is one of the reasons why right now some of the programs we're having in school have the cash transfer. Yes. So that the parents don't use their children in order to sustain themselves. We would like parents to understand that if you allow your girl child to really get properly educated, she will be a better source for you than putting her through a system that she will end up becoming a prostitute. So we are really trying to also organize town hall meeting with parents, so that we are not looking for them to just get engaged, but we want them to also get involved.
All right. Thank you so much, DG. I'm so parents, if you're out there listening, you just know that your children are not sources of income for you. You're supposed to train them. You're supposed to provide for them, and then just in case you're listening to, you've heard or talked about the condition. Is it conditional cash transfer you call it now?
Yes, conditional cash transfer.
Yes, where they give monies to young girls just to encourage them to be in school, and so that they are not be labeled with the financial responsibilities that much. Question number 2 says, how do you heal when you've been abused several times? Emphasis on several.
First, I will start by encouraging the person to speak out. The state has a lot of gender-based violence stakeholders that are working tirelessly to ensure gender-based violence is reduced or brought to the barest minimum. But the issue is for you to speak out. There are people there to listen to you. There are people out there to fight for justice for you. And the beautiful thing of it all is all this will be done at no cost. Both psychosocial support, medical support, and even the law enforcement agency are there to back you up. And all this is at no cost. but we encourage you to speak out and get help. Then once in a while, there's something we do, which we organize Survivors Forum for people that has also been violated to come together to talk to one another. It's a form of healing therapy. When you feel it's only you that is in this, and you hear like 1,001 people that are also involved, that have been healed and they are bounced back to the society, it will help you heal faster. It will make you know that you're not the only one there. So if this person can go through this and still become this in future, then I too can pull through and become whatever I want to be.
All right.
But all we'd encourage is for them to speak out.
Well, I think before you ask the first question, I think the sad thing in the situation that you have asked is that severally, I think one of the unfortunate results of this kind of several abuse is that the victim herself becomes even the abuser, because she begins to demand for it because she's so used to it. That's one of the terrible things. So it's truly, like she said, I think the most fundamental thing to get out of this is to really go through a lot of therapy. Now, the doctor has to come in, a therapist has to come in, maybe a psychiatric or mental health specialist, because she really needs to know that it is not the way. Because we have seen it happen. You realize that the girls themselves go, and if the man who has even introduced them into it is not ready to, they will be looking for any other person to.
They can even look for their mates.
That's what we are saying. They look for their mates because now they have also become like, since it's a several thing. So it's the bottom line. I think the most important thing is the gradual therapy that one has to go through to get herself on note that it is not the way of life. There are better ways to live and earn a living.
Ma, to add a little to what you've said, some of this victims, some of the survivors, the perpetrator could even be within the house. It could be their father. It could be their mother. So you see, being that there's a close bond between them and the parents or the person involved, makes it scared for them to speak out. Because they look at it, assuming a maid walking with her master and the master keeps assaulting her. She's scared to speak out because one, the master threatens her with her salary, threatens her with her family. So she feels the only way she can, maybe she's a source of livelihood to her family. She feels the only way she can always encourage or support her family is to keep quiet and keep receiving the assault.
I agree, but because it says, how do you heal when you have been severally abused? So the point is she has already spoken out. Now she's looking for healing. So now that is why I'm emphasizing on this therapy. Psychological therapy. That will do a lot for her. Because she's looking for healing. Yeah,
definitely. Yes. Oh my God, for want of time. Okay, so let me come to you. Since you've touched part of the question, Barrister Meroma, let me come to you, Hajiya Maimuna. I'm just going to box like 2-3 questions because they are quite related in one. The first says, question 10, say, how can I set my boundaries kindly and clearly without sounding selfish? Number 11 says, is a person supposed to engage in any relationship in a secondary school level or still the A level? Then the last one I was going to box it in with says, okay, at what age should a child supposed to have a phone? So you just put all of them together.
Well, the setting of boundaries is so difficult for teenagers because of culture. Knowing how to say no is a tough one for somebody who is just going through their teenage or their adolescent developmental stages. So what we are hoping is that they have enough moral upbringing and religious support to be able to understand that if you are afraid, think about what your religion preaches to you and where you should lean towards. Since we are dominantly a religious society, both Islamically and Christianity, we relate on that. And our hope is that the imams and the pastors in our societies will also have developed the capacity to support such outbursts. And also that our schools, right now, like I said, we are developing guardian counselors in terms of their capacity to observe, their capacity to record. Also, we are changing the way our classrooms are being run right now, because there is isolation between the teachers and the students. So right now we have already announced it during the groundbreaking that there is no more staff room. All teachers must be in the classroom. There must be a relationship, because we realize that there is a disconnection, because a lot of teachers will say to you, it's not my period, and they will be in the staff room. So right now in Niger State, we have banned staff room, and we are trying to implement that process. Every classroom must have a room teacher who is catering and supervising. I think that will reduce truancy, that will reduce a lot of things, and students will develop confidence and have an adult relationship with their teachers and see them as their mentors and support.
So quickly,
At what age should a child have
as a phone, and should they have relationship in secondary school?
The phone issue is a controversial one, because we have this AI, e-learning, and all this stuff that is happening, right? So normally, even the people that gave us or brought this technology forward, they have sensors. They have, the grandfather behind the scene who is saying PG this, PG that, or R this and that. So honestly, the boundary about the phone is also based on the parents' own capacity to say no and stand firm by it. But this technology outbreak is really something that is ridiculously, and it is already out of control. So to say a child should have a phone, there may be reason why a child has a phone. Maybe the parent is a worker, or she's a market woman and she needs to stay in touch. Literally, supervision, knowing, and don't give them their own accounts. That's what I would say. Attach their account to your account and keep monitoring, because if their account is attached to yours, you will be able to see some of the things that are going. So make sure that, I think that's literally what.
And I think they shouldn't also have an Android phone. Maybe just a small phone of Astlin and.
There's a lot to talk about in this aspect, because looking at the fact that they can also use these gadgets to learn as well.
Exactly.
Online
It depends. There has to be a line. Line has to be drawn.
We are really behind. This is why when this year was declared as AI, I'm pushing back in our system. E-learning have not even developed in our own system for children to even know how to do basic e-learning, even know how to control that.
No, there are some schools, maybe government schools, like you said.
Yeah.
Private schools, they have gone beyond that.
I am a government worker.
All right.
So we are not lacking. It's just like the government schools.
There's a question I really wanted us to take, but we're out of time. I definitely think we'll have to come back here.
All right.
We'll have to definitely.
And I hope they will agree to give us like an hour.
Like an hour,
Exactly.
because it seems to assist us trying to scratch the conversations,
Because, and I think this is something that will help a lot of people, and parents, students, and I think we should.
Well, of course, we would look into that
appreciate.
and then see what the coordination and how possible it is going to be to make that happen. Of course, that's the point. That's why we are here. And if you look at our community, if you look at all of the faces you're looking around, you see that they're all young people, very young people. So that's why this is here. And I'm sure that we can look into that and find time. But I have to specially say thank you once again to Mr. Chenemi. I do hope I pronounced that correctly. Chenemi Bamaiyi, who is the founder of the Peak Story, as well as the convener of the Rape and Child Sexual Abuse Conference. Third edition, that is definitely a lot to have done something once, twice, the third time, and I'm sure there's also more editions to come. And also to our big wigs, I keep using the word big wigs because if you were with me in the studio, don't worry, in no time you also get to see what happened here on social media. But to Mrs. Ann Nwakpuda, thank you so very much for coming.
And I hope you give us 1 minute to say one last word.
Okay, we'll look at that. And also to Barrister Muhammed Mann, thank you so much for coming. Hajiya Maimuna Mohammed, we are really, really grateful for that request. Let's do it quickly. 1 minute.
Okay, let me let me just add a little to what my mommy said. There's this adage that said charity begins at home. You see, for a child to learn how to set boundaries, we parents, we have a lot of work to do. One, we have to be role models to our children. It's key. It's what they see from cradle, the way they behave. That's how they grow up and become whatever you want them to be. So building self-confidence, self-awareness lies more from the home. You have to ensure that is being given to them. Make them discover themselves. Make them know that they can be this. Make them be able to define their feelings. Teach them how to respect themselves and respect others. Let them learn how to be contented with what they have, because those are things that triggers boundaries. Let them learn that. It will go a long way in life, in school, wherever they find themselves, they can pull through. Thank you.
All right, Hajiya.
Well, I
Barrister.
wouldn't add much. I think that is the bottom line. It's fundamentally, like she said, it's just to add to the fact that as parents, we should learn to encourage our children to have that self-respect, dignity, confidence, and that self-esteem. Once a child has that, it doesn't matter. Even at 7, 8 years, 7 years, a child can tell you no, and it is truly no. So they need to learn from the beginning. The parents have a lot to play.
And I will add on to peer pressure. Sometimes, no matter what it is, sometimes, the peer pressure comes in, the societal influences. You have it, I don't have it, and all those things come into that. So what we are trying to do in school, that's why we're trying really with this government to make sure that we have these mega schools where things are available, that you don't have to envy each other to be, to put yourself at risk. Also to bring parents in as supporters through engagement and involvement. So our goal and hope is that as a society, that's why we're engaging even traditional leaders to make sure that they are also overseers of our school communities. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. This has been a complete pool of wisdom and knowledge, if you put it that way. And I'm sure that all of the persons listening have had one or two things to pick from this awesome interaction. And I'm really, really hopeful and looking forward to us doing this again because I'll be looking forward to it. And I think it really is important. Once again, thank you so very much for joining us right here on the Dial of Champions. And it's time for us to make way because the Sport Gist is also, it's time for Sport Gist, and Emmanuel is already looking at me. I know. All right, you have a great day. Bye for now. My name is Ibimode Babatunde Jr.
Federal University of Technology, Mina, has beautiful campuses. It hurts to